Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Forbidden Land podcast. It's a new week. Really, it's an episode I'm recording 2 days after the stream. And that is to say, we did the first Forbidden FM episode in almost 2 years. I enjoyed it. I had fun. I dressed up in a little suit, wore my little suit. And yeah, just to recap the election a little bit, in case you don't want to sit through the entire stream to see the results. The Senate runoff for the Republicans went to Mike Collins, so it'll now be Jon Ossoff facing off against Mike Collins, the MAGA freak, like crazy person who let children die in Appalachia High School. In the Republican primary runoff for the governor's race, big upset, big shock to me, if I'm being honest. Rick Jackson took the election by like big ass numbers. I mean, he stole the show, man. Like I wasn't expecting. I thought it would be like pretty close with Burt Jones, winning in the end. Dude, Rick Jackson fucking pummeled Burt Jones. And I gotta say, I think it's his last round of campaign ads. I think those really resonated with a lot of Republican voters. In a way that his previous campaign ads really weren't. That almost cost him the original election. And I'm honestly just surprised at what a big ass margin he won by. Now, let me just say now. See, where's those runoff results? He won by pretty big margins. I mean, if I can even find it. Damn. Okay. Yeah, he won by pretty big margins. But I think this race will turn out to be a very interesting one, especially because Jon Ossoff, like the night of the runoff election, introduced a bill that bans corporate super PACs or bans corporate PACs. Yeah, I mean, this is just objectively good. It would free up the government. No longer would corporate interests be able to openly corrupt our politics. Now they would just have to do it behind closed doors, which honestly would just mean that it makes it harder for them to control politicians because they would have to move in the shadows. And then when it's found out that they are doing stuff like that, we can nail them for corruption. So I would say that's objectively good. Already off to a good start. I've seen some decent campaign ads from Ossoff. I don't know. I think I think Ossoff has a decent chance of winning this re-election, if we're being real. I don't see someone like Mike Collins squeezing out a Senate win here. Just because of how deeply psychotic and MAGA he is. I think it's off-putting to a lot of middle-of-the-road Republican voters. In other news, I can't believe this has all happened within a week. Elon Musk is now the world's first trillionaire. See, just saying it makes me sick. It is pretty devastating to know that capitalism has... I mean, in reality, capitalism has succeeded, if we really think about it. This was always the end goal of capitalism. This was always going to be the way that it went. We would have a trillionaire, of course, and that comes at the expense of people's 401ks, where he basically like pump and dumped his own stock And now he's worth $1 trillion. So, pretty grim, pretty bleak. The fact that we now have a trillionaire who is like leagues ahead of the next richest person on earth that we publicly know of. And it's like, does nobody think to themselves, maybe one man shouldn't have $1 trillion? I just want to show you the scale of how much money this is. This is $1 trillion. If we divided this by the world population estimated, Elon Musk could give every human being on Earth $125. Let's take $1 trillion. To end world hunger, and he's at like 1.2 trillion, by the way. It's not just 1 trillion. So I guess we should really edit this. This is how much Elon Musk is worth now. Let's say he solves world hunger, which they've estimated would be, I think, like $8 billion. He's still got $1.1 trillion left over. Let's say we taxed him. Let's say he's got the $1.2 trillion. I already know it's net worth. It's not in liquid cash. Let's say we taxed him about as much as a middle-class American in the state of Georgia gets taxed. Okay. So he's what? Worth this much? He's still got $978 billion. We taxed him, the average federal income tax rate for the middle class, which is about 18.5% for someone making less than $50,000 a year. If we taxed him that tax rate, he'd still have $978 billion left. Let's say we actually taxed him higher. Let's say we took a quarter of his wealth. Say we took $300 million or $300 billion from him. He'd still have a shitload of money left over. $900 billion? That's a lot of money. Let's say he bought... How many Chipotle burritos would he have to buy? Say, like, on average, you would spend about $18 at Chipotle. He'd have to go to Chipotle 66,666,666,666 times to use up all of his wealth. That's not accounting for him making money in that process. He'd have to do all of this in like a minute, which is obviously impossible. But he'd be able to buy 66 billion Chipotle burritos with a side of queso dip, if you're wondering my order. That's with like double meat too. Yeah, that's how much he would have to buy to use up all of his wealth. Unfathomable levels of wealth. If we taxed him, by the way, at a quarter of his wealth, we'd be taking the second richest person's entire net worth away from him, and he'd still have $900 billion. Capitalism is at its peak right now. Like, we have reached the end stage, the finish line. This is what happens when the guy in Monopoly gets all the money, and he still wants to keep playing. And he keeps taking your crumbs of money from you. The game's not fun anymore. It almost feels unfair. That's exactly how capitalism is designed. Monopoly is literally designed to be a critique of capitalism, if you're wondering. So yes, this guy having $1.2 trillion, not a good thing. It's how the game is designed. The game is designed for him to have that unfathomable amount of wealth. But that doesn't mean he should have that. So we should be taxing him more. If we taxed him 25% a year, he ain't running out of money, dog. He ain't. He is not running out of money. He'd make it all back at this rate. He has the mechanisms in place to make it all back. And you might be like, why do billionaires hate getting taxed so much if they have so much unfathomable wealth that they'll make it back by the time by the time that those taxes even come out, they will have made it back by the end of the week pretty much. Why do they care? Why do they spend honestly more money to lobby the government to prevent these taxes from passing? It's blind greed. It's power. They have power over politicians. They feel like they can do whatever they want. And it's greed. Disgusting, unlimited, infinite greed. They know they don't need that money, but they're brain diseased. They think they need it. They want to see that number keep going up. They have the ego that tells them that they need to be making more. That they need more. They need to be more, notable in society. It's disgusting. It's why being a billionaire in this country is unethical. Being a millionaire is pushing it. Multi-millionaire, you're entering unethical territory. A billionaire, it's unethical. A trillionaire, war crime. Like, that's a crime against humanity right there. That you're wealth hoarding that bad. What's going to happen when he dies? Like, where does all that wealth go? He's not going to use all of it. He's still going to be like a trillionaire when he dies at this rate. If he keeps going at this pace, he's going to be a trillionaire when he dies. So what was the whole point? You hoarded all that wealth. You exploited all these people. You created endless human suffering along the way. And then you die. And all that wealth is left over. Why did you do all of that? It was all for nothing. All of those deaths and all of that destruction and heartache and suffering was for nothing. It was all in vain. That's why being a billionaire is unethical. It requires extreme exploitation. You have to do infinite fucking over to get to that position. I mean, look at Elon Musk, obviously, as the best example. His hostile takeover of Tesla, where he claims himself as the founder, despite not being the founder. He doesn't do any work at these companies. He doesn't know at all what he's doing. He ignores OSHA rules like it's an option. That famous story that came out of that worker at the factory being like, yeah, he made us get rid of the yellow markers that are OSHA required on the floor because he didn't like the color. He didn't fuck with the color. That's what they alleged. Just what an evil, amoral, scum human being you have to be to become a trillionaire. Anyway. Speaking of grifters, Riley Gaines, the world's most famous loser. 5th place, folks, the best at being 5th place, argues that she's better at being 5th place than the trans woman that she was racing against in that race. Best 5th placer of all time in the swimming competitions. And instead of just taking that loss, she pivoted to being a right-winger. However, she might not be a real right-winger. She seems to just be water's wet, the sky's blue, dogs fart. She's obviously a grifter. And here's her getting caught on mic. And I don't know how this got released. But here's her getting caught on mic for getting her own values.
Wait, tell me the pillars again. So it's pro-life.
So, First Amendment, Second Amendment, sanctity of life, and veteran and first responders.
Okay.
And
First, second. Yep. Cool. The First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the sanctity of life, our veterans, I feel very passionately about. Do you guys, if you're going to talk about, you hate to even call them political issues, but do you specifically say like the left or the right, or is that something you try to kind of refrain from?
I think in our marketing,
Like if I were to say something to the effect of like the left is still doubling down.
Yeah. Yeah, you can say. Okay.
She has no idea. This is reminding me of that Ayla Stanford candidate in Pennsylvania District 3 that lost, where, you know, she claims to be like pro abolishing ICE, and she's like, you know, clearly pro Israel, and her campaign staffers are like, yeah, just say you'll abolish ICE, that'll get all the progressive votes. And then she goes on that news program and she's like, I don't know what I would replace ICE with, because I don't really believe that shit. Like people that don't believe in real issues and just parrot them as a grifter, that's what she is. This is what Riley Gaines is. She's gonna say, oh, I'm pro First Amendment, Second Amendment, however she listed it off, and then you challenge her arguments and she just goes blank. It's like I said, she's the best at being fifth place. She's the best top fucking loser in this country. The best loser there is. The best loser around, if I may add. I mean, just an absolute fucking joke. What was it again? What were my core values? My moral compass? Oh, right. Those things. You know, there's a big difference between me and her. I beat myself up on this podcast all the time, where I'm like, oh, I'm, you know, I say things off the cuff. Sometimes I get small details of things wrong in the moment because I forget, or I'm not too super familiar with something, but I feel passionate about it. And I really beat myself up about it. And I've noticed that at the very least, my passion shines through the small errors I make sometimes, because it shows that I'm passionate about the topic. I'm educated enough to know at least somewhat about the topic, at least. And that I clearly hold these views near and dear to myself because I'm able to riff off the cuff about them. The people like this, right? People like this don't believe in any of this stuff, and so they can't get passionate about it. They go on their like fucking studio, like weird ass studio, all dressed up, and they have all these producers, you know, the face full of makeup in her case, but like anybody, any grifter, they got all the producers, this nice fake set. I think about the Brett Cooper set where it's just this like bedroom, but it's in the middle of like a big ass studio that's empty around it. Like this is probably in a studio with some fake ass background. And like here she is, she's like listing off, what are my core issues? This. You ask her about those and she's like, yeah, like I think it's bad that they want to take those things away from us, man. The left, they want to take those things away from us. And it's like, you look at the left, we just want people to be healthy, comfortable, well off, earning what they deserve. If they get sick, they shouldn't be bankrupted by that. If they want to live in their own home, they should be able to do that by working a simple job. That should be more than enough to live on your own and afford your rent and be able to feed yourself, be able to take care of yourself. The left believes in basic humanity and meeting the basic human needs, and you know, being given what you're owed. You know, if you work, you should be compensated as such, and not be paid slave wages to do unfathomable amounts of work, just to come home and realize, you know, you're behind on bills, you're still short money, and you're in the cheapest fucking apartment you can find that's within 30 miles of your job. You know, the left believes that you should be able to live comfortably. Oh, and now you have a weird stomach thing that's not going away. Well, now you have to go to the doctor. That's going to cost you an arm and a leg. You probably don't have health insurance. And if you do, you have dog shit health insurance. It's the cheapest plan you could get. Through your employer, by the way. So if you lose your job, you're going to lose that health insurance. and now you're really fucked. See what I'm getting at? See how I can just go through this long string and connect all the dots here? She can't do that. Not even a little bit.
I've heard you introduce from the beginning, so.
Okay. First, that's what I needed to figure out really quick is when I first, I mean, definitely over a year though. I would say, can I just say that? Like around 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Wait, tell me the pillars again. So it's
Okay,
pro-life.
So, First Amendment, Second Amendment, sanctity of life, and veteran and first responders.
Okay.
And
First,
Christian
second.
conservatives.
Yep. Hello, my name is Riley Gaines, and I'm a very, very proud Patriot Mobile user, and I have been for about 2 years now.
I realized that was all for a fucking Patriot Mobile ad. I guess I should have paid attention to the background. Oh my god. Hey y'all, this is real patriotic phone service. None of this liberal cuck shit. You want to talk to your buddy on the phone and say slurs without repercussions? Get Patriot Mobile. You want to call a trans person on Patriot Mobile? Blocked, denied. I hear a little bit of gay in your voice, buddy. Might have to cancel your service. Good God, what the fuck is going on? Patriot Mobile, with Patriot Mobile on my Trump phone so I can use Truth Social. And then later tune into Rumble. Good God. What a dream, baby. Calling my bitch ex-wife on my Trump phone, using Patriot Mobile while driving in my Tesla down the highway. My kid's unbuckled in the back seat. I got my gun in the other hand and my phone in my main hand. Driving with my foot on the steering wheel. Praying every time I pass one of them billboards that says pray for Jesus. That's right. I love Patriot Mobile. In fact, Israel, can you take 3 billion more of my dollars? Ay, ay, ay. I can't believe they made the world's biggest loser a fucking right-wing personality. Although she isn't that popular. She used to be a lot more popular, like, right at the beginning, and then she immediately fell off. Like, she was maybe relevant for, like, a month, and then people all know her now as just the biggest fucking loser of swimming history. Like, people used to think of her as, like, for a month at least, at the most, oh, this conservative standing up to trans women in sports. And then, like, right after that month was over, people are like, oh, she's just the world's biggest loser. And she's a grifter. And we don't need more morons in the movement. Like, that's conservatives themselves kind of outcasting her from their movement. She used to go on Fox News all the time. I don't think she goes on there anymore. Alrighty. Let's talk about the really funny caddy news, because I just love this. I talked about it a little bit on Forbidden FM. I gave a little preview. And I want to talk about it more because this is one of the funniest fucking things. It's the best metaphor for the Trump presidency, like by far. Donald Trump just all of a sudden became obsessed with the Washington reflecting pool. I don't get this, by the way. Like, I can't understand on my own personal level why he cares so much about this fucking reflecting pool. I don't get it. It's like everything to him is just some weird one-up he can get on previous presidents. Oh, the previous presidents, they wouldn't even clean the pool. It was so dirty. There was so much garbage. And yes, I acknowledge during my first term it was just as filthy, and I did nothing about it. But folks, I gotta say, I gotta say, we're gonna clean up the pool. We're gonna make it look better. And I gotta say, the developments here are fucking hilarious. So they paint the bottom of the pool American flag blue. Tacky as hell. Doesn't make any sense, by the way. In his pea-brain ass moron mind, he thinks if he paints the floor of the pool blue, that it'll be blue year-round, like not comprehending the fact that it's the reflecting pool. Thus, it reflects the blue sky. That's why it's blue. And for some reason, he's like, we're going to make the bottom blue so then it's actually blue all the time. It's the bluest water you've ever seen in your life. The bluest water you've ever seen in your life. Folks, it's going to be so blue. And as a result, the darker color of the bottom of the pool absorbs light, absorbs heat. And what happens when you got there's a dirty ass, heated up, like water in the middle of a swamp, basically, because you remember DC's a swamp, is that algae grew almost immediately.
Stuff, and then the algae stuff.
Algae grew almost immediately in the pool.
Days, you guys. But I got to tell you, before this was done, it was so bad. It was so bad before this was done. It was not getting cleaned. They weren't cleaning it properly in the wintertime like they used to.
Oh, okay. Guys, trust me. Look. Guys, come on. Look, I know it's dirty now after they just filled it up. I know it's dirty now. But trust me. It was way dirtier before. Trust me, guys. It was way dirtier before. I know it's dirty right now, but trust. It used to be dirtier. And they weren't even cleaning it before. At least now, I think they might clean it now.
And it was a toxic mess before, so they're gonna figure this out.
Unlike now.
But it looks.
Oh, they're gonna figure it out. They're gonna figure it out. You see, they're gonna clean it now. Unlike before, when it was a disgusting hellscape swamp. Whereas as to now, folks, we've all eaten alphabet soup. The broth kind of looks like this when you're almost done with it. Am I right? Think about it. It's just a big soup. Soup.
It looks beautiful with the reflection. Absolutely gorgeous.
My God.
And it had to happen. It was leaking. All of that, the algae blooms and the goose poop and everything. It was leaking through the stones into the ground and then into the Potomac River eventually. So it had to be done. It absolutely had to be done.
Yes, it had to be done. We had to repaint the floor, and that solved all problems. Remember, guys, they're saying that the pool is cleaner now while it actively has algae in it. Because the floor is blue. Painting the floor blue actually solved all of its problems. It actually made it cleaner. As we all know, the color blue, cleaner color. I gotta say, this is a real perfect moment to analyze the way that Trump supporters ignore what's right in front of their own eyes. They are in such an alternate reality. They are so prone to ignoring what's right in front of them that they are literally ignoring the green ass water in the reflecting pool. So they can make a political point about how great Trump is at maintaining this pool. Unbelievable. Like, unbelievable. You couldn't write something this believable. Like, I would have thought this was an exaggerated SNL skit. And like I said, it's a perfect metaphor for the Trump presidency. Take something that wasn't broken, fuck with it, and then it breaks and it becomes a disaster. Because this is just the beginning, folks. This is just part 1 of 3 of this reflecting pool fiasco that took place over the course of the week. Because there's more. Not only is it green, Fox News shows up while the pool cleaners are there. This pool company that Trump has hired that he basically has a stake in. I mean, come on. Fox News shows up so they can get the inside scoop.
I'm here at the newly renovated reflecting pool. It's painted American flag blue. And the Democrats are going to tell you, oh, there's green algae, it looks so bad. But there's pool guys cleaning it up right now. No other president would do that. But President Trump is still cleaning it up. How is the reflecting?
No other president would clean the reflecting pool like Donald Trump. No other president. It's almost like there were rotating crews paid by the federal government to keep the pool clean, and that sometimes they slack, and that this is maybe not the most pressing thing in the world. I mean, this is the cleanest Washington, D.C. has ever been in history, because like 100 years ago, it used to be a real shit show. People didn't really like occupy that space because it was so gross. But like, I don't understand this. He fucks up the pool. It gets dirty. He like commits fraud pretty much because he's paying his own guys to do this. So he can make some off the back end, allegedly. And Fox News is out here being like, I don't see the Democrats doing this. What kind of clown sideshow is this shit? Trump breaks something and then starts trying to fix it. And Fox News is like, wow, what a great president. It's like that with the Iran war too. You know, it's the same fucking deal. So sure, yeah, let's give them a little bit of credit here. The pool guys, they're cleaning it, guys. I mean, what more do you want? They're cleaning the pool. What more do you want? Are you just greedy? Well, here's an aerial view of the pool. Like, right after they dumped all that hydrogen peroxide into the pool. Those 2-liter bottles, by the way, dumping it into what's like a giant ass fucking pool. All of the center is still covered in algae. Guys, we're not even trying anymore. We're not even trying anymore. What kind of half-ass job is this? This is so dumb. They didn't even use like industrial cleaners or anything. They just had the guys pouring fucking bottles of peroxide into the damn pool. Now here's part 3. Here's the final nail in the coffin. Just hilarious. Just hilarious.
There's a nice big chunk of the reflecting pool. Yeah. Oh, it is blue. How about that? Big chunk of it for you.
A chunk of the American flag blue paint cracked off the bottom of the pool and floated to the surface. The paint is already coming off. Beautiful. Wonderful, actually. Beautiful. I think this is like a perfect, just visual, like, of the whole Trump administration so far, where they have just royally fucked everything up that was working before and then tried to fix it and fucked up fixing it. And actually, we've seen a perfect example of this with the upcoming segment on the Iran war. Trump famously destroyed the JCPOA. Israel hated the JCPOA because they couldn't claim that Iran was their big bad enemy anymore. Famously, if you watch compilations of Benjamin Netanyahu claiming Iran is like 4 seconds away from a nuclear warhead or whatever the fuck, the clips kind of have a big gap between when the JCPOA was established and when Trump did away with it. because he couldn't claim it anymore. And that's why the Israelis hated it, because they couldn't keep claiming that Iran was this big bad guy building a nuclear bomb. We had inspectors in the area making sure they weren't enriching uranium to nuclear bomb levels. The deal was working. And Trump came in and, with everything else that Obama did, just started torching all of it. And one of those things was the JCPOA. And then when he left office, Biden did nothing to rejoin it after campaigning that he would, because he's an ultra-Zionist and the JCPOA is bad for Israel and only Israel. But because Trump destroyed the JCPOA, we've had hostile relations with Iran ever since. And then we decide, let's bomb Iran for Israel. And because we did that, we started an entire regional conflict with Iran. And in this conflict, Trump has desperately attempted to achieve some kind of deal. Now, we've spent about $100 billion bombing the shit out of Iran. How much more will we be spending? You'll find out soon. So, as per usual, Israel was trying to interrupt this deal. Iran said that the deal would require Israel to withdraw from Lebanon. As the deal was being discussed, Israel continued to keep bombing Lebanon. And Iran seemed a little iffy on the deal. And Trump was like actively talking mad shit about the fact that Israel was still bombing Lebanon. Now, Trump is still very pro-Israel. But when you damage his ego, when you hurt his ego, he's just going to speak his mind. Israel attempted to disrupt this deal. Trump, at the G7, said this about Israel's incursion into Lebanon.
Does not like them. And I'll tell you what, Israel's fighting Hezbollah too long and too many people are being killed. And you don't have to knock down an apartment house every time you're looking for somebody, because there are a lot of people in those apartment houses, and they're not all Hezbollah, that I can tell you.
Scathing. The American president completely dismantling Israel's entire argument for bombing and murdering as many civilians as possible. Just totally dismantling it. Because his ego's hurt. He wanted that big, beautiful deal on his birthday as like an 80th birthday gift. And Israel was fucking it up for him. And so he just started riffing off the cuff. You know, hey, maybe you don't need to bomb an entire apartment building because you think Hezbollah's there. And they're probably not. It's probably unjustified. So what is Trump promising in this deal? From various sources, I was able to read this article before. The U.S. would pledge. The U.S. would basically give Iran $300 billion to rebuild everything that we destroyed. So we just spent $100 billion bombing the fucking bejesus out of them, just to turn around and go, here's 3 times that in reparations. We have so clearly lost this war. Like, it's never been more obvious that we've lost this war. And I think it's just insane. Like, do I think it's justified for us to give Iran money to rebuild after we just destroyed parts of their country? Yeah, I would say so. We lost, so we do owe them some kind of reparation as a result. That's just how war works. If you fuck shit up and then you lose the war, you pay for it. That's just how it goes. I think it's justified. I just think it's absolutely abhorrent and fucking ridiculous that we're even in this situation in the first place. that he even started this war in the first place. Like, what was the point of all of this? What was the point? Why did we even do all this if we were just gonna a few months later turn around and go, I don't really want to fight this war anymore. Here's $300 billion to make up for it. Oh, and you can keep the Strait of Hormuz, and you can do whatever you want with it. And here's some other money that we're releasing to you that we held from you. I mean, what the fuck are we doing? We started this war to, oh, and here's the best part. Here's the best part. Wow, nice spelling on this doc. He's now no longer running the whole uranium shit. The whole reason we started the war in the first place.
So the Atomic Energy just reported that it was one of the most devastating bombings that they've ever seen. The whole mountain collapsed on top of it. And frankly, to go get it, we're going to go get it. But to go get it is a big deal. Because they say only China and us have the equipment where you can even get. The whole mountain is collapsed on top. We have cameras on it. You could make the case why you're even bothering, because it's not really valuable. It's, it's probably $500,000 worth. It's not very valuable stuff. But I think psychologically we want to get it.
This man just said it doesn't fucking matter if we go get their enriched uranium. And we could just leave it there because it's not that valuable. What was the whole point of this war? Now, if you ask me, because he's already attempting this with the deal to make the JCPOA light, I think the Iran nuclear deal should be recommitted to and just become a permanent fixture. I don't give a fuck if Iran has nuclear weapons, but if they're going to keep playing this song and dance, at least do the whole, the I don't give a fuck Obama strategy, where Obama's like, fuck it, let's shut him up. Here's the JCPOA. Boom. Iran nuclear deal, folks. Look, I solved the problem. Netanyahu's going to call me boy behind closed doors. Just took away your big bad enemy, Bibi. Bye-bye. Bibi, more like bye-bye. Yeah, if you got to make a deal like that, then recommit to the JCPOA so it shuts Israel up. So Israel has nothing else to go off of in this regard. In addition to this deal, he also said, where's the clip? Did I not put it in here? I thought I did. Yeah, here it is. Trump said that it's unfair that Iran doesn't get to have ballistic missiles, but places like Saudi Arabia can.
In the press conference, you said you don't mind Iran having ballistic missiles. Can you elaborate on that? I want to make sure we understand your position.
No, I'm saying that if other countries have them, it's a little bit unfair for them not to have some. A ballistic missile is not the same thing as what we're talking about when we talk nuclear. But if Saudi Arabia and Qatar, and they all have some, I would say in relative proportion, I think it's okay. That's what I mean. Okay? Yeah.
He's saying if Qatar and Saudi Arabia can have ballistic missiles, why can't Iran? Why is no one thinking about Iran? This is so awesome. Due to this deal, he has walked back everything. We're going to leave their uranium there. They can keep having control over the strait. They can have ballistic missiles. And we're going to pay to rebuild all their infrastructure and everything we destroyed. What a fucking deal. Art of the deal, baby. Art of the deal. That's just how it goes. Art of the deal, baby. Insane. That's so crazy to me. Holy crap, man. So the terms of the deal are an immediate and permanent end to the war on all fronts, including Lebanon. This is the deal according to a Saudi outlet. And it's the memorandum of understanding. The U.S. will immediately lift the naval blockade on Iran and prevent any interference on the matter. The U.S. will withdraw all its forces from the region within a month of concluding a final agreement. Iran will lift the Hormuz blockade within a month. The U.S. and its regional partners commit to formulating a plan for Iran's reconstruction, implementing. I just lost my reconstruction funded with at least $300 billion. If the final agreement is implemented, the U.S. will remove all current sanctions on Iran, including all UN and IAEA resolutions. Iran commits, we will never produce nuclear weapons. The issue of enriched uranium will be settled in the final agreement. Until such an agreement is reached, the U.S. will allow Iran to remain in its current status quo of its nuclear program. The U.S. will authorize the export of Iranian crude oil, including banking, insurance, and shipping, and Washington will release all frozen Iranian funds. Iran is going to basically be making fat bank, continuing their nuclear program until more terms of which are applied later on. They're going to have all the sanctions lifted off of them. And they get the Strait of Hormuz back. Bro, what was the fucking point of this big ass waste of time war? Oh my God. I mean, on one hand, it'll be one of the last times I ever get to use the Iran war transition. Thank God. But also, like, what was even the point of us doing this war in the first place? I mean, I'll update when we get to the final agreement. But god damn, dude. Like, what was the point? And he looks so bad. And it looks like they're trying to pin a lot of it on J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance has been making the media rounds, dude. The media rounds. Trying to defend the terms of this shit-ass deal. I mean, we lost. We lost this war. And I think they're trying to pin it all on Vance by making him like the figurehead, the face of the deal. Trump said while this deal was being made that the deal's not final and he could just go back to bombing Iran.
Got by Steve?
He's giving himself an out.
Is the text of the agreement now final, or are you still...
No, it's not final. It's a memorandum of understanding. And if I don't like it, we'll go back to shooting at them, dropping bombs on their head.
When do you expect the word?
If I don't like it, if they don't behave, we'll go right back to dropping bombs right smack in the middle of their head. Okay? Because they've misbehaved for 47 years.
You know, my God. I just love that he gives himself an out there. He's like, oh, because in reality, it's more so, here's the translation. If Israel keeps bombing Lebanon and Iran decides to then bomb Tel Aviv back, that's Trump's definition of misbehaving and will give him an out so he can start bombing Iran again and ignoring the MOU. That's the whole point. That's why he's saying crap like that. This deal could also be coming off of the backs of the U.S. being desperate, because Trump kind of let something slip that he wasn't supposed to, and it's how much oil we have left. It smells like fucking beef in this place, dude. Yes, she's making me dinner with the Butcher's Blend seasoning. Oh my God, let me tell you, that shit's delicious. I also made a yummy chicken Alfredo last night. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. Trump might have just leaked when he wasn't supposed to how much oil we have left. And it wasn't much.
Out of reserves in about 4 weeks. You know, there are reserves all over the world, and we would really run out. And there'll be a time when you wouldn't be able to get it. And you want to see Bedlam? Also, we run out of reserves.
Doing this entire war so we don't run out of oil reserves. Because you know what will happen if we run out of oil reserves? Gas right now, where I'm at, hovers between 380 and like 420, depending on the week. It was 420 for a long time there. Right now it's 380, 350 if you have one of those like wholesale grocery store memberships. With no reserves, you're seeing like $1.50 increase probably. Like over the course of a couple weeks. It'd be gradual. They would definitely boil you in the pot like the frog so you don't feel it as much. But it would be devastating to the American economy and to everybody's way of life. One last little tidbit about the Iran war that I thought was really dystopian and made me kind of be like, wow. Wow. Is this. The Pentagon used Grok AI to fire 2,000 missiles at Iran. This government's a joke. We're using Grok. I grokked it. We're using Grok to figure out where to bomb Iran at. Good Lord. One last little tidbit before I go. In addition to the reflecting pool costing millions to paint blue just for it to be fucked up and falling apart already, new reports have come out. Records have revealed that the ballroom, which originally was said to have cost $300 million of donation money. Folks, would it shock you to hear that the president lied? It's now revealed that it will actually cost more than likely $600 million. We need the ballroom. $600 million, half of which would be taxpayer money. I think it's just so fucking nuts, dude. His first term, we suffered through it. He passed some terrible bills, signed some terrible executive orders, but we made it through. Most of us made it through, and some of it was sort of undone during the Biden years, but not really. I've always said that Biden was just felt like a placeholder that was delaying the inevitable. That honestly, it probably would have been, if not for COVID, it would have been better to have Trump be reelected the second time around than to have Biden. And with COVID, it's better to have Biden because we got the vaccines for free and less people died as a result. But, you know, I think absent of COVID, it would have honestly just been better to have Trump as a second term, just to get it over with. All Biden did was just delay the inevitable Trump term and kind of paved the way and laid out the red carpet for a second Trump term. And in this term, he has violated so many laws and done so many things that are corrupt. But not only that, has left a permanent mark on so much. The East Wing is gone. And it's been replaced by this fucking, like, whatever this is. I mean, look at this. Look at this photo. It's been replaced by this gaudy, nasty-ass ballroom. And now the reflecting pool's been, like, pretty much destroyed. How much more is he gonna destroy? How much of his mark do I have to keep seeing for years to come? Anyway, happy Pride Month, everybody. We've got one more episode of Pride Month. Tomorrow's Juneteenth, or I guess today if you're watching this. Juneteenth, when this comes out. Have a fun weekend. I'm going to eat a hot dog on Saturday. Fuck yeah. Free hot dog, too. At a very weird time. If you want to support this podcast, you can go to patreon.com/forbiddenlandpod. You can donate money to me for old bonus content or just to support. Or you can go to our shop and buy some merch. Can also go to the audio versions of these podcasts, which are on Apple Podcasts, the Samsung Smart Fridge, as well as various other streaming services. We're on everything pretty much. So yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. I will see you all next week. I'm going to go eat this yummy ass dinner. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. See you next week. Peace.